And people wonder why the Canadian people have rejected the United States. In fact, they're retaliating against the United States. But there's no wonder at it, is there? They feel like they've been attacked by Donald Trump. When he repeatedly says that, if they were the 51st state, they wouldn't have to pay all these taxes, etc. Yeah, but just be the 51st state. They don't want to be the 51st state. They're sovereign. And they want to remain sovereign, and can you blame them? We've only got to look what's going on in the United States at the moment, haven't we? To, make it fairly darn clear that we don't want to go there. Why would you want to? Riots on the streets now because of Donald Trump and his ice. There's people out there being gassed. Seriously gassed. Pepper bombed and stuff. You know? It's good. Oh, crikey, look at this.
This is live. You see the images. It's continuing right now. Less than lethal rounds as we speak. These crowd dispersal tactics being used on a group of protesters that are protesting in Paramount, California.
Would you want to go there? Unless you want to participate and maybe, I don't know, throw some rocks at some trucks and stuff, you know. Maybe that's what you want to do. But I think most Canadian people are going to say, sod that. You see, Canadians, I find them to be amenable. Now, I've spoken to quite a few Canadians here in France, but also on the channel as well, you know. Everyone I've met, everyone I've researched, whatever, everyone just seems, like I say, amenable. Just decent people, just want to get on with their lives and that, you know. In tune with their environment. Especially in the country. It's actually quite... I find it humbling when I see people like that. And I find it humbling when they stand up against tyranny. Because that's what's going on in the United States. And then, with all these tariffs, which there's no getting away from it, is going to hurt Canada. But they'll get through it. They will get through this. They will find new markets. They will change their policies to open up their markets, even with China and what have you. You know, China currently, well, it's been a little bit difficult, I have to admit, with Canada. But you see, Canada's put on tariffs on China, on their steel and their car industry. And Xi Jinping is not going to lift the tariffs on Canadian beef and what have you until those tariffs are lifted. But you've got to weigh up the pros and the cons, I suppose. You're talking about a car industry which you've got obviously in Canada that you don't want to get destroyed, do you, by BYD? You know, you don't want your state to be flooded with cheap Chinese steel and destroy your own steel industry, like the UK's done. You know, of course you don't. So you're going to have to weigh up the pros and the cons. You need to find new markets. It don't have to be China. No. You see, you can find other markets other than the United States. You see, I remember rightly, I think Canada's around $1 trillion a year in trade. $1 trillion. It's a lot. I did write it down actually. Let's have a look. I did write that down. I've got a... There you go. Is that it? Yeah, here we go. Each day, the United States does $2.5 billion in goods and services across the Canadian-US border. That's clearly reduced considerably because of, well, obviously Canada's decided that, well, we don't want your shitty whiskey. No, your JD, well, you know, people boycott it. They're going for the Canadian whiskies. I have to admit, I like Canadian whiskies. There's some good stuff, there really is, you know. And it seems to be more available here in France now since all this squit's been going on. And it's... Our attitudes as well have changed towards the United States. Even though we don't have the same problems as you do. You know, I actively look for anything other than a US product. I just do. To be fair, I've been doing that for a long time. I'm not a lover of US products anyway, to be fair, but it's, you know, that's my choice, isn't it, you know? And I've got plenty of choice here, being in the European Union, you know, here in France. They literally cut that about 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks or 2 weeks? But 2 weeks ago that was all cut and baled up, this field. And then they had the cows on them for a bit, and now the cows have been moved again. So I don't know where they are now. I can't see them on that field, they've been moved to a different field. So anyway, so what else is it? Canada companies employ this is the thing that is going to really hurt people. Canadian companies employ approximately 900,000 workers in the United States, and nearly 8 million US jobs are tied to trade with Canada. So all those little subsidiaries, all those supply chain industries and that, they're all going to be hit by this. And Donald Trump just seems to try and use the rhetoric where, oh, they've just got to build them in the United States instead. Well, it don't work like that. It don't work like that. You see, all these companies, all right, they don't just have one little component, do they? Or two little components, three little... No, they have thousands of components in them. All sourced from different places. So if you ask yourself, well, there's all tariffs on these items that have to be imported and we ain't got the means to actually produce them ourselves, we've got to buy them in from somewhere. Well, are they... I'll give you an example in a minute. Are you going to deal with the tariffs on all these thousands of different products from around the world, dealing with that and the additional cost of it? Or are you going to deal with the cost just on one product and get the people to pay for it? I'd do that personally. And John Deere tractors, the American tractor firm, good tractors, I had John Deere's in the past, oh yeah, good machines. And the parts are always reasonable, actually, to be fair. Well, they're moving to Mexico. They're moving to Mexico. So there'll be more jobs lost in the United States. They're going to be building their John Deere American tractors in Mexico. It's easier to deal with one tariff than it is to deal with thousands. It's just counting it. Other companies are doing the same. Donald Trump seems to think that they're all going to come back to the United States and build in the United States, but they're not. Otherwise they would be. They would be, you know, building factories and stuff. But they're not. No matter what Donald Trump tells you, that's just another one of his lies. So why would the Canadian people go there? They've been hit in all directions. Their industry with the United States has been damaged. Their GDP is being damaged. Mark Carney stood up there the other day, the second time he's done this, what I know of anyway, where he said, well, the relationship with the United States is over. The relationship we had is over. It is no more. And that's just fact. That's just counting. You can't expect the Canadian people, who have been the most amenable people out there, you know, get on with anybody as a whole. And don't get me wrong, you know, I'm not going to tarnish all the Americans with the same brush that they're all fucking crazy, because they're not. But there's a fair majority that is. They're out of their feckin' minds. This MAGA lot especially. Absolutely nuts. They haven't got a clue what they're doing. Donald Trump, unless his goal is to destroy the country, there could be, so he can apply martial law, make everybody unhappy, then apply martial law and then basically take over the country that way. Not by making your lives better, but by making your lives worse. So you got, crikey, can you flipping out? It's like a dodgy relationship, isn't it? You know, it's a bad neighbour. It's like having a really bad neighbour, in fact. Crikey, the sun's come out now, it's lovely. The old maze over there is doing quite well. Let me see if I can show you, if it'll let me. There we go. Oh, there we come. Oh, up we go again. Yeah, that's coming up. It's only been in a couple of weeks. Yeah, that was about 9 inches up already. Well, 250 mil then. So yeah, it's... Let me just... Oh, not that one. I didn't want that way round. Why has it done that? I didn't even know it would do that. What if I just move it by hand? It will let me. Yeah, it will. Good. Oh, dear me. That got me. Yeah, I just have a different gimbal, but it went loopy. This one's a little bit loopy-ish. It's not as loopy as the other one. But yeah, so anyway, the Canadian people, a mean little bunch, have got a really shitty neighbour. They really have. And what can they do? All they can do really is... oh yeah, can I show you something? Oh, before you... See that oak there? That's a Canadian oak. It's either a Canadian oak or it's a Spanish one. It's a Quercus anyway. That is. There you go. So let's go back into my little. I'm sort of doing this like I'm doing a live stream, aren't I? But I'm recording a video. Oh dear, it's. I actually find it all a bit sad, actually. I know I've said this before, but I do find it all sad, you know. But it feels like it's like everything's inevitable now. It's like the damage is so bad that you're not going to recover from this. The United States isn't going to recover from this for decades, and that's if you've got someone decent in tow. In charge, you know. Well, let's go through some of these articles. There we go, this one here. More Canadians plan to travel this summer, but not to the United States. And this is in a poll. And it says here, a new polling released on Thursday by Leisure show a surge in Canadians looking to take a trip this summer, and 55% of them. Up from 47% in 2024. So there's more people thinking about going for a holiday, but not to the United States. Fewer Canadians are considering spending vacation dollars in the United States, with just 10% of respondents saying their plans include the United States, America. The US President Donald Trump's trade war is a key factor in people's decision to avoid American travel, with 7 in 10 saying that they are less likely to travel south of the border this year. 71% this year compared to 59% before the tariffs. So anyway, it's just... this video's getting a bit long. Now, I want to share something with you in a moment, in another video, not this video, because it looks like it's getting a bit long. But yeah, check that one out. I might even put the link on the end cards, whatever. But it appears that Donald Trump or his advocates have been secretly talking to Canada, to the officials in Canada, almost begging for them to encourage people to come to the United States on holiday. Look that one out. That'll be my next video, I reckon. Toodaloo. Don't forget to beat the little like button, subscribe to the channel, little bell icon, because then you get a warm fuzzy feeling in your pocket every time I upload another video. And where the sheep gone? I can smell them, but I can't see them. There was sheep in this video, you see. There was. Anyway, toodaloo.